imagining sitting there building it with him last week and just calling him a crazy for the things he was coming up with. And I think all the athletes thought that yesterday too.
Yeah, it seemed to be a pretty good reaction from the athletes on the course. It's you know, a little bit different, but obviously Bas has raced dual slalom all over the world and on a whole bunch of different courses. He knew exactly what he wanted. I asked Jacob this yesterday. Jason, I want to get your take. You think there was a big advantage in riding a course that he designed and built?
Oh yeah, you'd be a liar to say no, but I think Bas is one of the top dual slalom athletes out there. So I think he came into that building it, wanted to see it. I think all the
Building. The athlete built, that is one of the cruxes of the whole Crankworx mentality, building these tracks. All right, well, thank you, Jason and Jacob. We're going to check back in with you guys soon and catch up for some thoughts about the downhill coming up. But we're going to go into a little bit more depth in what is happening. What is the CLIF Crankworx Summer Series? What are we doing out here? Obviously, it's different, but exactly what is going on? Have a look. We've got 25 of the best athletes based in BC. Obviously, international travel is out, so the riders are based here. Enduro, Air DH, dual slalom, downhill. Everybody has to compete in all of the disciplines at all three stops, and we're moving around to some of the most beautiful spots in BC all summer long. We've got 3 weeks of racing action, and it's going to be interesting to see who is able to step to disciplines they're not comfortable with. SilverStar right now. Next week we're off to Kicking Horse Resort at Golden, BC, and then straight on down the road to Sun Peaks Resort to wrap it up. You can see the live broadcast going on today and tomorrow. We've got and final results from yesterday's SilverStar dual slalom. All right, well, we wait to get those. There we go. Results on the table. You can see the tree. Via Verbeek qualifying first. And Via then going up against Miranda Miller, Georgia, Astle, and Casey Brown. Those were our 2 semifinals. And no surprise to anyone who knows anything about Crankworx competition to see Via Verbeek and Casey Brown in the final. Via edging Casey out by 0.3 of a second. So Via Verbeek, she is looking strong to take, well, obviously early days, but to take out the title here. But Casey Brown is not going to let it go easily. They both have a win now in the 2 disciplines that we have seen go down so far. So definitely going to be a battle all summer long for those 2. Downhill and Air DH still coming up at SilverStar. So lots of points on the table for the women. Now let's have a look at the men. This was insane racing. We had young guns, we had established pros, we had guys like Bas van Steenbergen who are well known on the Crankworx circuit for their snap out of the gate. And then we had unknown people like Remy Gauvin, Jesse Melamed, those guys, enduro riders. Could they do the gate snap? Lucas Cruz, if you know him, you know he came from a BMX background and the kid is a ninja. All the way up to the semis, Lucas staying in, then Bas going up against Finn Isles for the win, for the gold medal, but coming up a little bit short was Finn, which means Bas van Steenbergen taking the gold, Finn Isles with the silver, and Lucas rounding out the top 3. So absolute hot action on the dual slalom track. We're going to take a look now what that did. We've had enduro, we've had dual slalom from SilverStar. What did that do to our overall picture? Let's take a look. So on the women's side, Via Verbeek edging out dead tie with Casey Brown. So each with a win and a second. Miranda Miller still very much in the hunt. Georgia Assel fourth. So this is now already shaping up to be the Via and Casey show. Who's it going to be when it comes to downhill? Both of them have chops. Casey Race World Cup, Via the defending Canadian champion at downhill. We have DH and Air DH to come still at SilverStar. So lots to play for the women. Miranda Miller and Georgia, no slouch. And then we've got lots and lots of other racing to go. So all of those women that are a little bit further down in the standings going to get their chance to put a few more points on the board. Tons of racing action still to come. On the men's side, definitely things looking a little more established, a little more comfortable. As we saw Finn Isles, he's got a win in enduro, but what was he doing yesterday? Well, he made it all the way through to the final, cementing his spot in, I think, future Crankworx competitions a long way down in the future. So Finn Isles now 185 and Bass sitting in second at 160. Casper Woolley, he had an amazing result in the enduro and was able to put enough points on the board yesterday to keep him in the conversation. But Remy Gauvin, Lucas Cruz, very close behind. Those 5 guys at the top all looking pretty solid, but I have to say Finn Isles is now going into the things that he's comfortable with, so we could see him run away with some points for the rest of the time here at SilverStar. All right, so SilverStar is a really special place in the BC mountain bike scene. They have a beautiful bike park, but right down the road is Vernon, BC, an absolutely spectacular town. And we've got some locals racing in the CLIF Crankworx Summer Series, both Casey Brown and Brett Reeder, as well as Bas van Steenbergen and Via Verbeek living in the area. And we've got, we were able to catch up with those guys, just showing us their town, showing us what they love about the SilverStar and Vernon areas.
Have you ever tried eating kale? It's hard, you chew it forever, and it tastes terrible, and it's slightly crunchy but not in a crispy way, and the leaves fill your mouth and stuff. This is the opposite of that.
Hello, this is a prepaid call from...
Revelstoke, Ontario, Australia.
Oh, I'm getting the shot right now.
Well, I don't need to, I just need to leave my bike somewhere, because we're going straight to the cidery.
Brett Reeder grabs apples from trees, don't let him. Oh yeah, that's a bad one.
Alright, so if you're thinking about entering a downhill or an enduro race this summer, I have some tips that might help you out. So we're standing in a section that is going to trip a lot of riders up. A lot of riders are going to be naturally drawn to the inside of this turn. The issue is that we have a bit of a punchy climb here, and so that means we're going to lose all our momentum and we're going to be slow to get our speed back up. Let's grab our bike and head to the top. This is how a lot of riders might approach the section. Take the inside here, and then here we get stuck in a bomb hole, and I was in a bad gear, which is actually probably what a lot of riders would do. Now, one of the things that you'll see some of the more advanced riders doing is they'll get some of their turning done earlier by swinging up high, so they can exit higher here and maintain a little bit more speed. That's one of the reasons why a lot of the fast riders are fast. It's not just because they're more talented, it's because they do a lot of planning for their race runs. Let's take a look at what you should do. So we know we need to swing high at the end. So swing high right here, off the brakes, same gear, exited with a lot more speed. That's a tip to work more efficiently. I hope these tips will help you have more fun out on the trails this summer. As always, my name is Phil Metz. Thanks for playing bikes with me today, and I'll see you guys next time.
All right. GT Pro Rider Phil Metz giving us those tips to get on the podium at home. All right, it's Friday. It's Crankworx Connect. That can only mean one thing. It is Maxxis Friday Motivation. And if you want to talk motivation, there are very few riders more motivated than this man. Tyler McCall has done it all. He is a rampage regular, always has the wildest moves. He is on our broadcast team for Slopestyle. Unfortunately, we don't have Slopestyle coming at you right now, but we do have Tyler McCall. Tyler, welcome to Crankworx Connect.
Thank you. How's it going?
Well, it's pretty good. So you're in the garage. I'm here in this beautiful tent in the Fairmont and Whistler, and we're both pretty excited to see some racing back on. What do you think of this whole Crankworx Summer Series going on?
I am pretty jealous of everybody in BC right now. It sounds like one of the best times ever. I got to go to SilverStar, I think, 5 years ago, 2015, and it was one of my favorite places ever. I just love BC, all of it. Yeah, I'm jealous. Seems like those guys and girls are having a lot of fun out there.
No doubt. So are you still getting some opportunity to ride your bike at the moment?
I wish I could say yes. I've been dealing with an injury since January, but I'm hoping to be back on the mountain bike any day now. I've just been riding the road bike, trying to get some strength back. But yeah, 2020 has not been awesome for multiple reasons. But yeah, 6 months of crutches. Now I'm on this sweet cane. And we're almost back to being able to ride that thing right there, which I can't wait for.
Yeah, well, we can't wait to see you back on it. So we want to talk a little about, you're talking right now about injury, maybe trying to prevent injuries. Part of what goes into that is routine. And I want to ask you a little bit about your pre-race routine or pre-event routine, because obviously you're doing a lot of things out there. What's that look like?
I usually try to get about 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Yeah, it depends on the schedule the next day, but I try to go to bed by 10, up by 6. But yeah, as I said, I'm sticking to that routine more often these days. I used to be kind of a night owl, but you get older, you go to bed earlier and wake up early. But yeah, that's kind of my sleep routine.
So you said here your worst pre-comp idea you've ever had was a burrito, but you're in love with them. Tell us about why it's a bad idea and what makes it so great.
I'm a sucker for the gut bomb. You're hungry, you're going to need fuel for the whole day, and burritos are just so fast, convenient, and awesome. So I tend to eat those before events sometimes, and I usually regret it, but part of me doesn't because burritos are awesome.
It's a delicate balance between delicious and athletic performance. All right, so
it is.
Maybe you put down a burrito and then you put down the run of your life in competition. Post-comp routine, how important is it? What does it look like to you after? Do you need to wind down, or are you just straight fire after you finish?
It depends on how the event went. If it went awesome, I'll usually try to go get some party laps in and then head to the bar, head to a restaurant, get some buffalo wings and a beer. But yeah, I don't take it too serious. I don't go like for a recovery ride and spin out all the lactic acid, maybe you should. I just try to have fun with it and enjoy the rest of my day. And yeah, get some party laps in with everybody if the lifts are still running.
Yeah, party laps are probably the most fun part of any of these Crankworx event. You get everybody together from all over the world, or right now it's all over the province, and then just ripping with your friends. So ripping with your friends, that's part of what Crankworx is about, but the other part of it is competition. You're no stranger to it. We have the Maxxis SilverStar DH coming up today. You were saying you've ridden at SilverStar. What do you think the tire choice is going to be for the athletes on the track today?
I am a sucker for the Minion DHF. I've run it since I was probably 15, and I rarely ever take that off and throw anything else on. But now we have the Assegai here, which I've been running sometimes. It's kind of a good all-around tire, especially if it's a little moist, but it works really good in the dry as well. But Minion DHF, you just kind of can't go wrong, especially if it's dry and loose. I run them front and rear. Yeah, I don't think it gets much better. That's what I ran when I was at SilverStar, and I loved it. But yeah, I'm a sucker for the Minion, that's for sure.
Yeah, the DHF is a magical blend of grip, rolling speed, all of it. And, you know, it says the F, you could throw it on the back and it's fine. You can do some sweet skids and roost with it as well. Tyler McCall, I want to say a huge thank you. We miss you up here at Crankworx. Can't wait till we get that border open and can get all of you guys back up here to join us. Thank you so much for joining us, giving your advice, pre-race routine, post-comp routine, beer and a burrito, maybe wait till after, and your tire choice. We're going to take a quick look at, we're going to take a close look, at the athlete's wheel, see what tires they're running. Hopefully they're following your advice. Thanks, Tyler.
Right on. Good chatting.
So we've had a chance to kind of catch up with some of the design team at Norco and see what's going into their process, what's going on at Norco Bikes. So let's take a deep dive in and see what's happening with the designers at Norco. All right, well, a big part of our hopes and dreams here for Crankworx Connect is to bring the tradition at Crankworx of showing the latest innovations in the mountain bike industry. So we do have one of the most innovative crews in the mountain bike world right now. That's Norco Bicycles. And we've got David Cox, the engineering manager from Norco, on site. Welcome, David.
Hey, thanks for inviting me.
So David, pretty interesting stuff you guys are doing. It's this whole kind of new concept in bike building, bike design, bike fit called the Ride Align design process. Can you walk us through a little bit about what that means?
Yeah, so I guess maybe three or 4 years ago, we started looking at new sites and kind of wanted to just take a bit of a step back and really look at what it would take to make the best all mountain bike. And we kind of started looking at these three factors, I guess, that are really required to make the bikes. And these three things that we're really thinking about, so that's fit, so how the rider fits on the bike, the geometry of the bike itself, and then we're talking suspension bikes here really, so how the suspension of the bike works. And those three things really interact with each other. So we needed to think about these things very holistically. And this is that process, the Ride Align process.
Do you guys have a name for this bike yet? What are we ready?
I think the working name has been
The hype is real.
It seems to have got a bit of hype since it broke cover this week. So
let's dig into those components a little bit. Starting with rider fit, how are you building that in order to, are you looking to accommodate a wide variety of body shapes and sizes, or are you building it for a long-legged, short torso rider, and if you're not that, then this isn't going to work?
A lot of the data came actually from military applications, so they're trying to fit people into aircrafts or tanks or whatever it is. So they're trying to really understand what the human body looks like and how the variety of people are made up. But all of that data is super applicable to bikes as well. So I guess the first thing with using that data is to look at fit, look at who's out there, their different heights, and also their morphology, their body makeups. And particularly like male-female makeups are quite different generally. And we just want to fit riders well on our bikes.
So you've got your fit, which is going to be kind of critical for a rider to feel comfortable on the bike. But then, of course, the geometry is what's going to give your bike that magic feel, that feeling of being stuck to the ground, and also the ability to go fast. So where are you kind of looking at optimizing the two together?
When we're talking downhill bikes, we're looking for a bike that has the ability for the rider to maintain a centered stance on the bike. So we don't want a rider to have to lean back and push off the back of the bike and defend. We want the rider to be able to maintain a centered stance and really attack the trail, even in the steepest, roughest, nastiest terrain. And this is actually where this whole ride line, like the triangle thing, came from. So the top of the triangle is the center of gravity of the human, and then the two contact points is front and rear contact point on the ground. We sort of work on one frame size to start with, and then looking at how we could scale that across multiple sizes. So because we want the same weight distribution front and rear across all bike sizes, so all riders experience the same feel and the same grip and the same confidence.
All right, so the third pillar of the Ride Align program, of course, is suspension. You guys have a lot of different factors there, especially when you're working with external manufacturers. How does that factor into your design process?
So we developed this software that can take the other inputs, the geo and fit inputs, and also things like components, so things like bar rise and stem lengths. And this allows us to really understand what's happening on the bike rider system. And that's quite interesting when you're thinking about these downhill tracks and how rough they are and how fatiguing they are on the riders. So we want a really stable chassis that allows the riders to be isolated from the terrain so they can hold on and work harder to beat the clock, I guess.
Right, yes. So reduce fatigue, reduce the movement of the rider at the top of the triangle, and then the rest of it will take care of itself, and the speed will come.
Simple as that.
Right, well, there you go. That's all it takes. Well, thank you so much, David. David Cox from Norco, running us through the pillars of their design process, the Ride Align process, brand new from Norco. Huge innovative technology coming out of the Norco design room. Thanks so much, David, for being a part of Crankworx Connect today.
Thanks very much.
Fuel, froth, and fun. Hey, Lucas Cruz here with my Norco Orem HSP. Got the full SRAM group set on there, deity, cockpit, saddle. RockShox taking care of the suspension. We got DT wheels on there with Cushcore front and rear. Maxxis Guy DHR2 combo. And HT pedals keep me clipped in. I like to run really thin grips and kind of a bit worn out too. Yeah, that's about it.
All right, welcome to the CLIF Athlete Panel. We're all familiar with the journey of Gary Erickson, the founder of CLIF. Entrepreneurship, a big part of that. We're joined here by two of CLIF's best athletes in the mountain bike discipline, three-time world champion Greg Menard and Rampage, Joyride, and X Games champion Brett Reeder. Brett and Greg, welcome to the panel.
Hey, Derek. Hey, Brett.
All right, guys, so we want to kind of dig in a little bit to your path of entrepreneurship in parallel with being an athlete. There's kind of a lot going on there. So maybe, Greg, can you just run us through the type of business that you've created in parallel with your athletic career?
I've been in a few different businesses, not all by choice. It kicked off in retail. My parents had a bike shop, and I took that over when my dad was ill. We went into import and distribution. We're in food and beverage, property. So quite a few different various businesses, yeah.
Brett, tell us a little bit about your business venture that you've got going on. It's pretty new and super exciting.
Yeah, I mean, we're just over 1 month being a company, but I've started my own component company. It's been quite the endeavor over the past 2 years to develop.
So you're building components. Tidal MTB is the name of the company. You're building everything from saddles, bars, stems, all that kind of stuff. What got you into that exact business?
It was a little bit of a sponsorship gap at first. Components opened up for sponsorship, and I took a couple of years just to test some different things out. At first, it was going to be like my own signature thing. But over time, I wanted it to be more of just a brand that I could sponsor athletes with. And yeah, I feel like it's just starting to get exciting now. But it is a lot to manage with all the stuff going on as an athlete as well.
Yeah, a huge amount of work there. It's kind of like an iceberg. The little tip sticking out is what you see, and the rest of it behind the scenes going on at the same time as running a professional mountain bike career. That's incredible. What about you, Greg? You talked about having some aspects of your business not being so much by choice. Were there parts that were by choice for you to get into business and into the sort of spirit of running things yourself?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's one of the reasons why we got into property was to own the property that the retail store was in. So owning the entire line was important for me. That was quite cool, and that led us into developing a few properties, doing a rezoning from residential to commercial, and moving the bike shop into a different area. That's been really good. It's definitely got its challenges, but it has been fun.
So getting back on track with mountain biking, it's what we're all here for. Both of you guys, you're mountain bikers first and foremost. So Brett, returning from injury, back on a bike, how are things going, getting you back towards full strength at mountain biking?
It's been pretty good. I started getting back on my trail bike, riding lots of trails, downhill stuff, and then recently just jumping on my slopestyle bike. It seems like the slopestyle bike is the last thing that gets implemented after surgery because there's like the most impact. It's the hardest on the knee. So things have been good over here. We've just been living in our little bubble and riding bikes as much as possible.
Excellent. And Greg, you were telling a wild story. You got out kind of just in time to get back into the bike world. Give us a little run through of your last few months.
Yeah, I was down in South Africa back home, and it's funny. Brett was saying that the last bike he gets on is a slopestyle bike. For me, it was my downhill bike, and I've been shredding our local trails on the Santa Cruz Heckler, the e-bike, and it's been incredible. I've had so much fun. It actually felt like I was back in my youth. Don't even try to backflip my e-bike, and I got a message from Brett going, "Oh, that's what we use in slopestyle. Whenever there's like a jump or something that we don't know what to do, it's something like just flip it out or something. When in doubt, flip it out." So I was like,
flip it out.
So that was my that was some good advice for the COVID lockdown.
Awesome. Well, looking forward to seeing both of you guys on racetracks in the very near future. I'd like to say a huge thank you to Greg Minar and Brett Reeder for joining us here on the CLIF Athlete Panel. CLIF Crankworx Summer Series, it's on. We are kicking things off. Huge thanks to Greg and Brett. We'll see you guys later. It's cool to see the mentorship go both ways. Greg mentoring Brett a little bit in the business world, and Brett mentoring Greg a little bit in the e-bike slopestyle world. Exciting to see that. So we are here. We've been talking. We've had all kinds of guests, but we're here for biking. We're here for riding, and we have another race coming up today in one of the 4 that's going down at the SilverStar Resort. It's the Maxxis SilverStar DH. It's kicking off today. Broadcast going to go live 12:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you want to see it, you got to tune in on crankworx.com, get stoked, and then get us involved, hashtagging Crankworx from home. We will be part of it. We will see it. We will love it. We'll share it if we can, but you guys are going to share it all. So we've got a quick look at who's going to be running. I was saying earlier, we saw Finn right up in the mix, Finn Isles right up in the mix at dual slalom and winning the enduro. He's going to be dropping in. But first, actually, we're going to check on the women. Lucy Schick dropping in first. Leonie Picton out of Australia, but by way of Whistler, Georgia Astle. She's great on the rough tracks, loves the Garbo DH and Whistler. Miranda Miller, Race World Cup and EWSALN. and then Casey and Vaya battling it out. We're going to see if the downhillers are going to be able to take it away, or if the enduroers are going to be able to put some time into those downhill specific athletes. There's so many great athletes here. Now here we got Trev Burke, Reeder coming off. He didn't do the enduro, didn't do the dual slalom, but he is here for the downhill. He loves it. Talking about his knee, hopefully it's going to hold up. Couscous, then young junior Seth Sherlock, Elliot Jameson shredding yesterday, moving all the way through the ranks. Lucas Cruz, McKay, and Jesse from the enduro world. Bass fresh off a win. Remy, and then Finn Isles and Mark Wallace, both from the World Cup. This should be their bread and butter. Those guys are probably going to do well. We're going to go back to our fans of the week, Jacob and Jason. What do you guys think of this downhill track? What is going on?
Well, we grew some playoff beards because we figured the summer series is like the playoffs right now. So we're looking forward to it. I think the track's going to be a good one.
I feel that. All right, playoff beards for the playoffs here at Crankworx. Okay, so you guys have seen this track. Who do you like on the track out there? Are we looking at enduro riders? Are we looking at World Cup downhillers? Who's got the edge?
I think on this track, it's going to be favoring the downhill guys. It's a little shorter track. It's rough. It's everything from rocks at the top to Rudy at the bottom, but it's I think it's a downhiller's track.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's rough out there. I like to say that everything's an enduro track, but I think this one definitely suits the downhillers more.
Okay, Jason, what do you think is the crux of the downhill track at SilverStar? This thing, you guys know it inside out. Where is the time going to be made, or where could it be lost?
Whew, it's a good one. The start, I think getting the good start on this track is the big make it or break it. There's a couple big rock sections at the top that have some key moves to them, and if they come out strong into the gate and hit those moves on point, they're going to be solid for the rest. If they have a little fobble in the first rock sections, it's going to put them off the game right from the start.
Okay, Jacob, predictions: men's winner, women's winner.
Ooh, men's winner. I think I'm gonna have to go. I actually think the juniors are gonna pull through on this one. I remember like years back racing with Elliot Jameson, Lucas Cruz, and Seth Sherlock, and they were all putting heaters down. So I think they know the track from years past. They should be able to pull out all the stops. And then in the women's, I think it's gonna be a good battle between Casey and Vaya. I'm really excited for that, especially with the title on the line there. But I think Miranda Miller is not going to be one to get counted out here, especially with her previous experience in the World Cups there.
Well, the beard doesn't lie. You heard it here from these guys. I mean, if you wanna look into a future, forget about a crystal ball. The sparkly heart beard is how you get things done. I would like to thank you guys, fans of the week, for the first week of Crankworx Connect. Jacob and Jason, thanks so much for joining us on Crankworx Connect. It's been a pleasure having you, and really enjoyed your insights, locals at SilverStar, and of course, digging into the beard.
Thanks for having us, Derek. It was a pleasure. Can't wait to see the event.
Yeah, cheers, Derek. Thank you.
All right, so we are moving forward at Crankworx Connect. Today is the Maxxis SilverStar DH. There are more points on the line, 100 for the win. Right now, Casey Brown and Vaya Verbeek battling it out on the women's side, Bas van Steenbergen and Finn Isles on the men's side. Bas has been known for the events that have already gone. He's got the great gate snap. Finn, more of a downhiller, but he's proving himself to be extremely, extremely diverse in his skill set. So excited to see how this is going to go down today on the track. It's rough, it's dry, it's going to be super exciting. So guys, I would like to thank all of you for joining us here at Crankworx Connect one more time, and we will see you next week from Kicking Horse Resort.
It's time to step up and to be the fastest from the start to the finish.
When I ride well, I hit the marks, all of them.
Trying to make a run for the overall for sure. Try to be consistent everywhere.
That's the biggest lesson. Don't give up.
It's downhill time, race fans. What do you say we keep this action rolling here at the CLIF Crankworx Summer Series by giving these racers another opportunity to grab some points? This is becoming more and more exciting as we go. Day 2 of broadcast competition right now, and it's all about downhill. Where are we racing? Well, I'm hanging out in Bend, Oregon. My co-commentator Elliot Jackson's in California, but we all have our eyes locked on our screens because the racing is taking place right here. SilverStar Resort near Vernon, British Columbia. Where's that? About 400 kilometers away from the birthplace of Crankworx, Whistler, BC. We've got some of the fastest racers in Canada all taken to this downhill course today. And Elliot Jackson, the plot is thickening. We have a story to talk about now. This is the third event of this 3-week series. What do you think we can expect in downhill?
Yeah, man, I am just so excited that we're only halfway through the week. We got 2 more weeks of this. And I think this is the kind of the moment that we've been waiting for, seeing how the enduro guys and the downhill guys stack up against each other. This course, I think, will suit a bit of everyone. It's got a little bit of everything on it, so I can't wait to get into it.
And if we've learned one thing already after 2 competitions, it's expect the unexpected. People weren't expecting certain riders to do well as they step outside their comfort zone, but they've been proved wrong. So what is this CLIF Crankworx Summer Series all about? 25 British Columbia athletes, 17 men, 8 women, and they got to compete in all 4 of these disciplines: enduro, downhill, air downhill, and dual slalom. This is basically an endurance event spread across 3 weeks. First off, SilverStar is where we're racing right now, Kicking Horse next week, and Sun Peaks the following week. And you have to compete in 12 different races, which, like we were talking about yesterday, there's that great soundbite from Mark Wallace where he's saying, man, I race World Cup downhill. 12 races, that's usually what I do in a season, and I'm going to do that in just 3 weeks, and every single result will count. Not to mention all these racers having to compete in disciplines that they don't typically compete in. Everybody at one point or another will be outside their comfort zone. Who's kind of rising to the surface so far right now, even though we're so early on in this 3-week event?
Yeah, to me, I think it's super interesting that, you know, Jesse Melamed qualified so well in slalom. Everyone's, I think, trying to find their groove. Finn always is really strong at the start of every season. You see that in the World Cups. And then on the women's side, I know Vaya has just been training so hard. I think it probably suited her that she got an extra couple of months of training, and Casey is just so naturally talented. So there's a couple of matchups shaping up as we go into the later part of the week.
Yeah, you know, it's a crazy thing too is all the different bikes are going to have to compete on. Today it's all about long travel, dual crowns. But just yesterday it was all about short travel, tight courses, about 45 seconds long, the course for dual slalom, and really, really no room for air. So let's take a look back at some highlights from yesterday's SilverStar dual slalom.
Definitely gnarlier than I thought it was going to be. It was like, I thought that the first turns would slow you down a little bit more and that you'd be gaining speed rather than managing your speed. It feels good, and I'm stoked that it all worked out.
Did not think this day was going to pan out like this, so I'll take the win and pray that tomorrow goes well.
So really interesting to see how things shook down in the dual slalom, and take a look at how tight the overall standings are right now between our top 2, Elliot.
Yeah, man, these two neck and neck. Bass was going crazy on the slalom. I couldn't believe how fast he was going. He's kind of just on another level when you watched him, like kind of head and shoulders above everyone else all day.
For sure. It was funny when we talked to him after the race, too. He's like, man, I think I made the course a little bit too tech, but it totally played in his favor. It almost looked like a moguls race on skis. But the women, let's talk about their overall standings. Take a look at the top two there. A tie with Via Verbeek and Casey Brown playing ping pong 2 days in a row with firsts and seconds, respectively. What do you make of that?
I know. It's crazy. These two are so evenly matched. They're so talented, back and forth in the last 2 days. And Via, like I said, she's been training on these disciplines, but she comes from World Cup downhill background. So I think today she'll get back on a bike that she's comfortable with. Miranda's still right there, so it's really anyone's game.
Okay, so you're up to speed with where we sit in the standings, what's at stake. Today we've been talking about it's all about downhill. What better chance than right now to take a look at what this course is all about. This is the Stands course preview with Trevor Burke and Brett Reeder.
Hey everyone, Trevor Burke here again with GT Bikes, and today I have a real treat for you. I'm going to be following this man, Brett Reeder. Hey guys. Down the SilverStar Downhill at the CLIF Crankworx Summer Series on the course preview presented by Stands. Jags downhill. Slopestyle.
So we see coming off at the very beginning, it's a little bit flat. There's not much room for pedaling here, but you're gonna have to pump a ton. And there's all these little kind of sniper rocks and these sections where you can see out in the distance that trail that kind of goes uphill. This track is all about carrying speed. So you're gonna come out of a turn, maybe not even gonna be able to get some pedals in, but a lot of tucking, a lot of carrying momentum. Here you can kind of see, maybe you could straighten out that rock garden, come around here. The dirt is super loose up here, like so many rocks and pebbles. I hope that the riders kind of have a good chance to get some time on this track, because it's one of those tracks that can catch you out. You could be doing everything right, come around a turn, a rock's in the wrong place from your last run, and you might hit that. You might hit it with your front wheel and come off the bike. So the top is about kind of pushing, carrying speed, and then coming into these woods, I feel like it's kind of back to where we were yesterday, like lots of turns and berms.
It seems like the top of the course, like you mentioned, it's all about just making sure that you don't initiate something that's going to cause a chain reaction and lose your flow, because all those kind of off-camber, snipey rock sections leading into those long out in the open flat sections, and like you said, almost uphill. It's like if you lose speed out of one of those silly little off-camber rock sections, you're gonna have a hard time getting back up to speed in those flat, kind of almost climby sections too.
Yeah, it's so true. And like those things are so hard mentally, because you know how important it is. Like, you know, as a rider, like, I have to nail this turn, so I have to push. And if you either nail it and you're stoked, or you don't nail it, you're trying to pedal and kind of mentally maybe out of the game. So it's definitely going to be a mental game as well, to be precise but also push. I think this is kind of going to be a theme throughout the week here, because the tracks are so technically difficult.
It looks like so many times it goes in the woods with technical, and then out of the woods with just flat stuff. So it's like, come out of those tech sections with speed. That'll be really interesting to see who can hit all of their marks right there. Of course, 25 of the fastest racers from British Columbia all taken to the course here at SilverStar Resort for the SilverStar Downhill. We've got riders from all different backgrounds. Even Brett Reeder from Slopestyle can be dropping in, so do not go away.
Discover the best trails in the world. Trailforks. Download the app today.
here we go. Closer and closer to racing action, minute by minute here in the SilverStar Downhill. Of course, stop number 1 of the CLIF Crankworx Summer Series, event number 3. And I'm listening in right now. I think we got a racer on course, Elliot.
Yeah, baby.
Here we go.
So this is Lucy Schick. She was the U21 champion in the EWS. So let's see how she goes in this first section. The course is actually, comparing that course preview to what we actually see here, you can tell it's a little bit steeper than it looks when you're riding it. And like I was saying, this first section, a lot of things that can catch your pedal out. Really have to be careful about that. But once you get into the woods, it's about finding the flow.
Hey, well, it's great to get our first looks of the course right here, but isn't that kind of true always? When you get that onboard POV camera mounted to the helmet, it just flattens everything out. Now we get these great views from trackside. Everything looks a little bit steeper.
Yeah, totally. I know, that's always the thing.
All good?
Like I was saying, in this bottom part, to me, when I think about this course, I think about like execution, which is what keeps coming to mind, because it's one of those tracks where you have to really be careful not to push too hard, but at the same time, you don't have a whole lot of opportunity to make up time with a lot of super gnarly sections like like a Val de Sol or something like that.
Well, there we have it. The bar has been set for the women's field, and our first taste of what the times are going to be looking like today. A 2:58.3 for Lucy Schick. She'll take ownership over that hot seat. We'll see if she's able to hold on to that. We have 6 more racers in the pro women field here yet to drop. So you mentioned she comes from not a downhill background. What do you think? We've got the bar set at 2:58 right now. How long do you think that's going to hold up, considering who we have right here on the start list?
Yeah, what's funny is talking to a couple of I was talking to a couple of the enduro guys. They hop on the downhill bike and they're just like, I have so much traction. They've been riding these trail bikes for so long, and so I'm interested to see if they can actually find the limit, because the limit on the trail bike would be in a different spot.
Yeah, there's nothing more powerful feeling than getting off of your trail bike and hopping on a downhill bike. You just feel like a superhero. Right now, opting for the enduro bike is Leonie Picton out of Australia now, 34 years of age. Let's see if she has what it takes to knock Lucy Schick off of that hot seat.
Yeah, totally. It's super interesting, because you have to kind of make a choice of, would I rather ride a bike that's quote unquote better for a course, or would I rather ride a bike that I'm more comfortable on? You can hear Leonie right there. I think there's probably a pedaling section right before that. And even if there's no pedaling on a track, one of the things to think about is there's so much pumping. Even out of the gate, when you come around, there's 2 bumps you have to pump, all in this stuff right here. You're moving the bike around, you're putting it where you want to put it, and that is sometimes a little more tiring than just pedaling the whole time.
So taxing. I feel like all of our viewers who are joining us on peakbike.com right now have an idea of how taxing it can be to pump through rollers. But look at this, through the line right now with our top time, beating out Lucy Schick by 6.7 seconds. Leonie Picton setting the new bar to beat 2:51.6. So that trail bike's paying off, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. I wonder like how that stuff is going on the open. We saw in the course preview, like there's a couple of those long sections, so it's hard to tell. Without being on the track whether it's better to tuck or to pedal. We used to always go through that on the World Cups. Like, should you pedal here and catch a bunch of wind, or should you just try to tuck? You see like people like Troy Brosnan, super good at that.
Yeah, I mean, all he has to do is tuck down a little bit. He doesn't have much body to get out of the way of the wind there. Just his head a little bit. He's already underneath the stem. Well, it's fun having him in the booth in Rotorua. But hey, you had a good point. As soon as you watched that course preview, you said it's going to be all about carrying speed in those flats. So that might be where that trail bike right there, the Enduro Race Machine, came into play. Next up, Georgia Astle. What do you know about Georgia, Elliot?
Man, I have seen her in Whistler for the last who knows how long. But I just realized she's actually born and raised there, so that would make sense. That would make sense.
Makes sense when she's hanging out in Whistler. Well, she's hanging out at the top of the course right now. The next rider to drop with a 2:51.6 set as the time to beat. Georgia Astol on course right now. Georgia sitting 4th in the overall.
Yeah, and she has a lot of experience riding different terrain. Goes out to Queenstown, done some World Cups, done the Crankworx World Tour. Looked like she kind of came over that first section a little bit faster than the other two. Tough to see. Taking a little bit of a further inside line there. And so these sections here, it's super interesting because there is a straight line through there, and some people are opting to go outside. So you have to make the choice of, do I want to shave off distance or do I want to have a higher speed? Like
time to beat at 2:51. Georgia's sitting at 2:45 right now as she approaches the finish line. So it's looking good for Georgia Astol. There we go, going into the lead by a margin of 2.7. The new time to beat, 2:48, held by Georgia Astol.
Yeah, man, this track is looks hard. Like, I think there's a lot more to it than meets the eye.
So next to take the course will be Miranda Miller. We had the chance to catch up with her earlier, and she had this to say about managing your energy.
It's an intense schedule, like that's a lot, and even in between the events, there's media days, travel days. You just have to be really mindful of, you know, what you do with all your energy. I think just staying healthy the whole time, whether that's like not getting like a cold or like run down or, you know, getting hurt, things like that. I think you just have to be like a little bit wise to how you're feeling and then really just act on that, you know, like maybe you're a tiny bit uncertain on something on the downhill track. Like maybe you don't need to do an extra run though. Like maybe you can do that the morning up before or something, or go look at a GoPro, just small things like that. And I think will make a big difference.
Success or, you know, situations that could be improved, especially when you're racing so many disciplines in 1 week. 4 disciplines per week here on the CLIF Crankworx Summer Series. Right now, Miranda Miller on course. Does she have what it takes to knock out Georgia Astol and beat that 2:48?
Dang! Right off the gate,
yeah.
Like, manualing that little roller. I love it. I love what she was talking about, just being smart. She has so much experience. And you can see here, like, she takes that inside, straightens that section out. I've been watching her, and these like kind of flowy turned roller stuff, she is so good. You know, she's 2017 world champ. And I always laugh because she always texts me, you know, mid-winter, and it's like it's time for fat camp, Elliot. Let's get you up and get you out on the bike. So yeah, she's super fit, super strong. Been around
and
a long time.
Super
you can tell.
fast. Look at this margin. All right, the 2017 World Cup Downhill champ just knocked Georgia Astol out of that hot seat by a margin of 9 seconds. The new time to beat, 2:39. And Miranda Miller is the new occupant of that hot seat. Wow. I mean, every single rider we've watched drop in has knocked out the previous leader. This is good action.
Man, yeah, I'm just thinking back about that run. Like, I love when you see riders kind of making the whole track like a rhythm section. Like finding the jumps, finding the turns. Like, that was really cool.
So, 4 different disciplines, of course. That means you're going to have to bring a lot of different bikes. To speak more on that topic, we caught up with ALN.
As far as my bikes for this event, I kind of went with simplicity. I have a Slayer with a 40 and a 29er front wheel. So I have a mullet Slayer that I'm using for DH. And then I have a trail bike that I'm going to use for Enduro, Dual, and Air DH. I'm not going to do any mods to my trail bike. It'll be a 29er, 170, 150, and I'm just going to keep it simple. Might change a couple clicks for Air DH and everything, but no major change.
So ALN, she just told us right there, she'll be on board that Slayer with the 29 front, 27.5 rear. I believe the Slayer is more of a short travel trail bike, a long travel trail bike, I should say, but not a downhill specific bike. So will that be what it takes right now to knock out Miranda Miller? A little bit more pumping capabilities. ALN on course.
Yeah, that's a super interesting choice to me because these EWS races are used to racing like super gnarly tracks on their trail bikes. She took a little bit of an inside there. Maybe that traction that you have takes it outside there. I think one of the keys to this track is not getting slowed down over the roots. We can kind of hear the riders when they go through some sections. Like Miranda was just like super quiet, and she was able to lift up over some of those roots and rocks and stuff like that. That just comes from, like Miranda said, is maybe these riders haven't gotten as much practice as they would normally.
It's gonna be so tight! Oh, man, are you kidding me? ALN popped Miranda Miller out of the lead by less than a half of a second.
Oh my god, that's
I really
crazy.
like the way we have that on-screen graphic there, Elliot, where it's just telling us how much time they have to cross the finish line before it's too late and they don't get the lead. Jeez, Miranda's sitting there right now going, where could I have found 0.49? All right, here you go. The cozy red chair is yours, ALN.
Yeah, that's so awesome. Like, I think that's totally one of the things. Like, I was talking about how she might have been hitting some extra routes, but then it's probably just because she was actually just going so fast.
Man, I think she's carrying speed in those flats, you know? That bike is a little bit shorter travel than some of these purpose-built downhill bikes. But next up, we will see her in the start gate momentarily here. Casey Brown, we caught up with her earlier. She had this to say.
I think the downhill scares me the most just because it's always just such a short time frame over the gnarliest stuff. So the downhill is definitely one I was worried about for my knee, and just you know, I think that's going to be a hard one for me to tone it back on.
Left in our women's field here, Casey Brown, of course, tied with Via Verbeek, 185 points. They've traded first place the last two events, and now Casey Brown with an opportunity to earn some more points here. Who will be the last competitor to drop? Of course, Via Verbeek. So our two top points contenders right now dropping in last. Now Casey Brown's got to beat a 239.
Yeah, I know they're both gonna want this. Casey talks about how it's gonna be hard for her to hold back, and she's such a competitor that I don't know if she's gonna be able to.
She's such a sender too, you know, especially that she thrives when the pressure's on. And right now, being tied for the lead on a short downhill course, 2 minutes 39 seconds, the time to beat. The pressure is very much on. Let's see if Casey capitalizes. Oh!
Man,
in that berm.
it's so awesome seeing, you know, the succession of riders, because Casey's like taking some extra pedals there. Like,
here we go. It's not
really
going to
just
be
trying to
Casey's
go.
race though. Final straightaway. She's already outside of the top time. She will move into third place, and if she's able to stay there, that will be worth 70 points. But the next racer on course will be Via Verbeek. But anything can happen. How about that? No real huge mistakes to speak of in the women's field, Elliot.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, like, we definitely can't see some of the rest of the track, but I think you can always tell by a rider's body language when they come down whether they made a big mistake, because it's hard. It's an emotional thing. As soon as you come through the finish line, you're like, ah.
Yeah, no obvious crashes here, but obviously, like you say, anything can happen when they're not on camera. But right now, the pressure is on Via Verbeek right now. Let's see if she can capitalize. She was the queen of Crankworx last season. She said she'd like to have more consistent results across all the different disciplines because she's better at some than others, but she wants to be an all-around strong player. Well, guess what, Via? Luckily for you, the CLIF Crankworx Summer Series was invented. It's pretty much the perfect event format for somebody like Via Verbeek, who's an all-around talent right now, and she has the opportunity to flex her muscles in all 4 disciplines: enduro, downhill, air DH, and dual slalom. But right now, the final rider to take the course for the women's field right now, from nearby Coldstream, BC. This is her home mountain. She wants the win here. This is Via Verbeek.
Yeah, here we go. She came into that a little bit hot. You can see her kind of like go on the edge of the trail, maybe not get as much pump as she would. But sometimes good to have those little mistakes at the top, calm you down, get you into the rest of your run.
Isn't that true? That sometimes happens. You mess up and you go, ah, and then you get mad, and you almost aren't as nervous because you just go, well, bring it on. I'm going to make up for that.
Yeah, let's go. It's funny that she said that she wants to get better all around because she's probably one of the best, if not the best, at everything.
Hey, you know what? That just means she's never content, even though she's the reigning queen. But take a look. She's going to exit the woods here, looking good. 7 seconds left across the finish line. If she wants to take the lead, she will do it. Via Verbeek, going back-to-back wins 2 days in a row here, smashing the competition by over 3 seconds and earning another 100 points to her tally.
Wow, that's awesome. That is, man, like, being able to perform back-to-back different disciplines, hardly any practice, it's impressive. It's so impressive, especially going from the slalom to the downhill, where you're switching bikes. Like, it's awesome.
Via Verbeek, way to go. She wanted to kick off the 2020 season by defending her Queen of Crankworx crown. Of course, Crankworx World Tour put on hold, but the CLIF Crankworx Summer Series, the perfect opportunity for her to go, what was it, a second place, a first place, and a first place in the first 3 disciplines, earning herself the top spot in that leaderboard right now. Casey Brown was tied for the lead. She now moves down to 4th place. Miranda Miller in 3rd, ALN in 2nd place right now. The downhill results, and we're gonna have to wait until we can crunch the numbers and find out what that means for the overall. Oh, this just in, Via's wearing a headset. Via, way to go out there. It seems like we just had you on headset 2 seconds ago when you took the win in the dual slalom. What took place between then and now?
Oh my God, it's been a blur. Yeah, we just raced at the H track and it's a quick, full-on track. I feel like I was just at the top, but yeah, I can't believe I just won this. This is crazy. It's been a roller coaster start, like first race, second race, mess up my arm big time, and now 2 wins. This is insane. Stoked that I can function under these circumstances.
Tell me about the arm. I read a little bit about that, but I don't know much. Explain to me what happened and what you're feeling right now.
Yeah, it's basically in slalom yesterday, early practice session. I just cruised through a couple times and just, rolling through that super technical rhythm. And then I saw the guys doing the like on, off, double, and I was like, that looks sweet. I want to try it. But it's very unforgiving, and I went a little bit too fast and, just doubled in, overshot, and then got ejected big time and landed into a bunch of other rollers, which messed up my back and my arm. I think my chainring landed on my arm because as soon as I got up, I thought I had a broken arm. I had 2 super pointy bits pointing out of my arm. So I laid down for about an hour and it just swelled up like an egg. And we could see the chainring mark on my sleeve, which made me think, okay, it's not actually a bone, it could just be an egg. So thank God I was able to put a compression sleeve and just ride even with the swelling. And so yeah, it's been a challenge since yesterday.
It's crazy. We see you on course looking so cozy, so comfortable. We see you on the top step of the podium 2 times in a row. Had no idea all the stuff you're dealing with your body after that injury. So way to go, pushing through the pain. We can't wait to see what you can do in air downhill tomorrow, because guess what? The week isn't over. This is crazy. It just never lets up. Good luck out there, Via.
Thank you so much, guys. See ya.
So big congrats there to Via Verbeek, sweeping the field by 3.2 seconds. Of course, that's going to shake things up in the overall standings. We will crunch the numbers over the break and get back to you with what that means. How far down the lineup does that put Casey Brown? Let's get our calculators out. But you, just hang out there, watch these commercials, because we got more racing in the men's field coming up after the break.
Discover the best trails in the world. Trailforks. Download the app today.
Unlike our bikes, culture cannot be engineered. It grows from within. Pivot Cycles is a company founded on a commitment to building only the world's best performing mountain bikes. But Pivot Cycles is a company thriving because of deeply committed people who have come together in a way best described as, well, a family.
Downhill time at the CLIF Crankworx Summer Series, which is brought to you in part by ODI, the world leader in grip technology. Of course, you've seen those ODI number plates on the front of every rider's bikes. Of course, we also have to thank Stans. Stans brought tubeless to the world, and they're bringing it to the racetrack every single discipline here at all 3 stops. We couldn't do it without Giant and Liv. Ride Unleashed with Giant. So I think we should welcome the 3rd member of our team right about now before we drop the men. How about Eddie Masters? Do we have you? There you are. What up, dude?
Hey, what's up, players?
We're chilling. It's great to have you involved here. We're looking forward to watching the men's field. I know you're friends with a lot of the racers out there, so we're going to lean on you for some little inside tidbits, the inside scoop, to enhance our viewing experience here. But we're really moments away from dropping our first rider. Eddie, what do you think about that?
I'm excited. I just literally watched the women's race, and I'm a huge downhill nerd. So, yeah, I was pumped. It was sweet.
Well, Elliot's the number 3 downhill nerd in the world. Where would you rank yourself?
Maybe 69th.
I would expect nothing less from Eddie Masters.
Yeah.
Guess what, Eddie? Guess what we have first? We got Trevor
the,
Burke first. What do you think about that?
Oh, Trevor, he's a Whistler local, so anyone who spends a bunch of time in a bike park town is going to be pretty handy on a bike. So I'm pretty interested to see how he'll fare against some top World Cup races.
And we got some top World Cup racers out there in the field, don't we?
Yeah, I actually looked down the start list, and there's only 4 riders in the field who haven't raced World Cups. So it's pretty stacked.
Ooh. Yeah, it's crazy. We got this event series, and it's only open to current residents of BC, but it just turns out a large percentage of the best bike riders in the world happen to be current residents of BC. So as a result, you get some world-class competition out there, and it's going to be really interesting to see who adds some points to their tally right now. The way things look for the men coming into this 3rd discipline of SilverStar's event here, Finn Isles, Bas van Steenbergen, and Casper Woolley. But right now it's going to be all about Trevor Burke kicking things off in the SilverStar Downhill for the men. He's in the gate now.
Eddie,
all right, on course.
What did you think the hardest part of the track looked like so far?
To me, it looks like carrying speed. Like the track looks like it's kind of flat in places, but there's a lot of square edges, like roots, and so I think it's going to be a key part is going to be carrying speed along those like flat sections. I saw some of the girls hemorrhaging a bit of time in those bits, but yeah.
Well, how do you know? How do you know if they're hemorrhaging time?
I've heard Rob Water use that call, so I just stole it.
All right, Trevor Burke's going to set the bar here for the men. What's it going to be? Through the line with a time of 2:26. Of course, the first rider on course is always going to be the first rider into the hot seat. Take a look at this, Eddie. This is funny. You said you looked at the start list and you counted the riders who haven't raced a World Cup. One of them must have been Brett Reeder. Yeah, he's never raced a World Cup, but he's won X Games in slopestyle. He's won countless Crankworx slopestyle stops and overalls and Red Bull Rampage. So even though he hasn't raced a World Cup, he's a little bit accomplished on a bike, and he's our next rider to drop on the course.
Definitely one of the most exciting entrants on the start list for me. Just to set, like, you know, we never really, as racers, we never really mix and mingle with the slopestyle guys. But you can't get to that level without being handy on a bike. And it's going to be very interesting to see how quick he can go down the hill today.
Okay, I'll tell you what, like, especially the Rampage win, that means he's good on a downhill bike. But last year, the Fox US Open at Snow Summit down in Southern California, he decided to race just for fun. He beat a lot of full-time racers, and he's dropping right now. This is the slopestyle and Rampage specialist, Brett Reeder.
Yeah, I know, I love it. Like, it was so funny being at US Open, seeing Brett come down. Bass was in the hot seat, and Bass is like, "What are you doing? You beat me! Like, you're not supposed to beat me." I feel like they probably never heard the end of that. It's like, yeah, I can ride slopestyle and race.
I mean, you've only got to look at how he's going right now. He's flying down the hill.
He's going so fast.
I mean, he's getting close to the bottom of the course as well, and he's only at 2:08. So things looking good for Brett Reeder right now as he enters the final straightaway. He's got 12 seconds to play with. Brett Reeder takes the top by 11 seconds. Wow, yeah, he
looks like he left it all out on the hill too. He's given it everything.
I think he knows no other way.
Yeah.
Oh, really cool to see there. The pro freerider crossing the finish line with the top time, and not by a little margin either. 11 seconds is kind of ridiculous on a mid 2-minute course. Did he seriously sign his own jersey? That's confidence right there. I just said seriously, and my phone woke up and thought I was trying to talk to Siri. That was ridiculous.
He was putting some watts out of those flat
corners. Is Brett Reeder a downhill racer? What is she going to say? Yes, he is now. Oh, Siri knows what's up. All right, who do we have on course next? Fabian Cusini, from somebody who isn't a downhill racer to somebody who can't get enough of downhill racing, Elliot.
Yeah, it's so true. Like, Kus was a World Cup downhill racer forever. Great rider, and now he runs the Polygon team, which you see Tracy Hanna and Mick Hanna on, and he just doesn't stop riding bikes. Like, always at Crankworx, always around, always doing everything. He'll do Mega Avalanche and stuff like that. So he's never stopped riding.
You can take the boy out of France, but you can't take the France out of the boy. He's there sitting there with a baguette in his screenshot. Fabian Cusini on course. Does he have what it takes to knock out the free rider, Brett Reeder, from the hot seat?
He looked good off the top.
Yeah. I love that little jump that he did at the beginning. What is like Fabian's style, Eddie? What would you say about him?
Well, I was just about to say that I think he started out as a four-cross racer, so like he's going to be good at finding a flow and being precise. And I think by the looks of the track, having not been there, if you can get little doubles and carry your speed well, like he did off the top, then it might pay off down the bottom. But it looks like he's lost a fair bit of time somewhere.
Yeah,
he's
maybe
playing
put
around
on
right now.
boards or
Obviously a mistake off camera there for Fabian Cusini. Not going to be enough to knock Brett Reeder out of that top spot. He goes into third place as the third rider to drop. So obvious issues there. 27 seconds back. Not going to be Couscous's day. And look at this. This is the first time all day we've seen somebody hold on to the hot seat after somebody dropped. So Brett Reeder, I don't know how long this is going to last, Brett, but enjoy it.
Yeah, I hope Brett wins.
Yeah, so do I.
Yes. I feel like Cliff Bar would also check into that. All right, who we got next? Oh, he's going to have to dodge the young gun here. Seth Sherlock, Squamish Loke Dog Junior. He won a Junior World Cup, and he's on course right now trying to beat that 2:14. Look at that age, 17.
Yeah,
he's one of the young BC-based athletes who are really like coming to the top of world. So in races are very strong at the moment.
Yeah, this is going to be the first test for Brett. You can kind of see him like super aggressive, tucking a little bit there, getting a little bit wild.
He's looking quick, right?
Oh, he's only got 8 seconds to play with. He's not out of the woods yet. Oh, guys, I think Brett's gonna keep it.
Yeah, he's got him.
Okay.
I don't want Brett to go and race a World Cup.
Through the line, 1.7 behind the free rider, Brett Reeder. All right, Brett.
Keeping the young guns at bay.
Yeah.
He stepped back from slopestyle this year. Of course, he's still going to be competing in Rampage, but hey, this might be the next path for Brett Reeder, a little downhill racing.
Yeah. We need to get a hashtag going. Brett for World Cup.
Yeah.
How do you program a human? You just put a hashtag at the beginning. There we go. If we put a hashtag, we create it. I'm sure we can make Brett, you know, what, top 80? What do you got to do to get qualified for a World Cup? Top 80? Say it one more time.
You've just got to have the points.
Right.
Good point.
Yeah, because now they moved it to top 60, but he could at least go. I think he could make it in. I feel like he could make it in.
Well, I would be absolutely terrified doing what he does. So dropping into a World Cup would be a piece of cake.
This makes it exciting. That's what the CLIF Crankworx Summer Series is all about, taking professional riders out of their comfort zone. But this guy, I feel like he's in his comfort zone right now. What do you think, Elliot? This is Elliot Jameson.
Yeah, he's got a great name. I think that really goes a long way. But you can see him. He's actually like first rider that we saw pump down the rock garden there, which is kind of gnarly.
He's another one of the Stevie generation coming out of BC, which is just insanely fun.
Yeah, he looks like he's really carrying speed through a lot of those tight sections.
All right, 4 seconds to play with. He is not out of the woods yet. Brett Reeder will hold on to that lead. Come on. Okay, where's he going to go? Elliot Jameson into third place right now. What in the world is happening?
This is good. This is good.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Brett. The only thing that pisses me off is that he's not racing enduro or slalom. Please, kicking horse, Brett Reeder. Race them all.
In my I had him in my fantasy league for this week. I didn't know that he was not racing the other two.
Oh.
All right, the plot thickens.
Definitely for the next round, we need to see Brett Reeder in all 4 of it.
That'll be our first hashtag, is Brett Race Enduro, Brett Race Slalom. Oh, check it out. Look at this. Who's going to be next? Going to be Casper Woolley, the kid who's hanging out in third place in the overall right now. He's a youngster out of Squamish. He is 61 Strava King of the Mountains, and he's been adding to that tally here as he's been spending time at SilverStar Resort. King of the Mountains are cool, but knocking a free rider off of the downhill race hot seat would be even cooler. What you got, Casper?
I think we can judge a lot by this first section.
He's on
we get to see.
I mean, even
no,
the start gate looks quite technical. If you don't get on the pedals properly, then you'll eat that whole start straight.
Oh, he's going around there too. All the riders are a straight line, and it seems like it makes more sense. What do you make of that, Elliot?
Yeah, I think it's like what Eddie said. Once you're into a section, it's kind of too late. Like the stuff that really makes the difference is like getting good pedals out of the start, getting that drop down, and then that drop down is where you're carrying speed all the way through.
Oh,
the
he might have it, guys. He might have it. He has it. Okay, Casper Woolley by 1.5, and he's not done yet. He's like, I'm an enduro guy. That was nothing. I can ride my bike for 2 minutes and 13 seconds. I want more.
Brett looks sad.
Well, hashtag darn it for Brett Reeder right there, but what a good run. And hey, still possibility for a podium, but plenty of big bullets to dodge before we can start singing about that. We got Mark Wallace, Finn Isles, Remy Govan, Bass Van Steenberg, and Kirk McDowell. So many fast racers yet to go here at the CLIF Crankworx Summer Series SilverStar Downhill. The current standings look like this. Casper Woolley in the lead with a 2:13.16. So many more fast racers to go. Who's gonna take the win here? Don't go away. What else are you gonna watch?
Discover the best trails in the world. Trailforks. Download the app today.
Crankworx Summer Series right smack dab in the middle of our SilverStar Downhill. Of course, we couldn't do it without GT because you just can't spell good times without GT. And of course, the birthplace of Crankworx in general, Whistler Mountain Bike Park. Right now, sleep later. And look at this. Not only did they help make this happen, they're even letting us hang out with one of their own, Eddie Masters. We got to give a big thanks to Pivot Cycles, making it all possible out here in beautiful SilverStar Resort. Casper Woolley artistically sitting in the hot seat right now with his bike perched on that very well crafted bike stand. Who did that? I like that. Casper Woolley, time to beat right now, 2 minutes, 13 seconds. I feel like, yeah, his breath is caught. It seemed like his breath was already caught as soon as he crossed the finish line. He just kept on riding. And when you're hanging out at SilverStar Resort, that's all you want to do is just keep on riding because it's so good there. They got everything. They got the bike park. They have a bunch of other stuff too. You want to see a little feature that shows all the other stuff they have? Okay, cool. Watch. Ready? Here we go. Go.
Have you ever tried eating kale? It's hard. You chew it forever. And it tastes terrible. And it's slightly crunchy but not in a crispy way. And the leaves fill your mouth and stuff. This is the opposite of that.
Hello, this is a prepaid call from.
Revelstoke, Ontario, Australia.
Oh, I'm getting the shot right now.
Well, I don't need to, I just need to leave my bike somewhere because we're going straight to the cidery.
Brett Reeder grabs apples from trees. Don't
Oh, look, there's a bug.
Oh yeah, that's a bad one.
Oh, what a cute couples retreat. And why wouldn't you go straight to the cidery? The place has everything. They got a cidery, they got all these wineries. Nothing to whine about when you're hanging out at SilverStar Resort. But guess what? There was a couple people probably whining when Finn Isles beat them all in the Enduro. That was crazy. Look at this. This is what things look like right now in the downhill. Of course, a whole bunch of riders left to go, but Casper Rowley's feeling pretty good about his performance. 2 minutes and 13 seconds is the time to beat. But that kid, that little punk who whooped everybody in the Enduro, downhill is definitely his discipline, and he's feeling a little bit more pressure for that one. He had this to say about that situation.
I don't feel more pressure to do well. I just feel like I should do well. Honestly, I just, as much as this is very, I wouldn't say arrogant, I just say overconfident. I feel like I should win every downhill. That's sort of my thoughts on it. And it's not like there's more pressure. It's like, that's the event that I feel like I'm going to do my best in. So it's like, all right, time to go really fast. And that's it.
I think there's a time to be confident, and there's nothing wrong with voicing that confidence. The time to be confident is when you're young and you kill it. And that is exactly the situation that Finn Isles is in right now. But you heard him say it right there. He expects himself to race downhill and win. I'm sure everybody else does as well. What do you guys think?
Yeah, Eddie, what do you think about that? Like, bringing that junior confidence into the elite ranks.
Yeah, so when you're young, you've got the whole world at your feet and you feel like you can kill every single race run. And I think Finn's got that, but he's also got the skills to back it up. And when you combine confidence or overconfidence and skill, it can be a pretty dangerous combination if things go right.
and it can make it really fun to watch too. I've seen that kid growing up getting better and better at mountain biking since he was 7 years old, hanging around summer gravity camps in Whistler. But right now it's all about another guy who's from that area, Henry Fitzgerald, on course.
Yeah, he is rides a ton in, like, I guess obviously because he's from Vancouver, rides those trails, really aggressive style, kind of, you know, rides with Blinky a lot. You kind of see a little bit of parallels in that style. Super wide bars, but it looks like he's a little bit behind.
All right, Henry Fitzgerald through the line, 3.8 behind Casper Woolley. That'll be enough for 4th place right now. Brett Reeder and Seth Sherlock still hanging out in those remaining podium spots.
That's looks like Brett Reeder. We've got a Brett Reeder. Brett Reeder is in 2nd. Yep. Brett Reeder there. Yep.
I think it's interesting.
Did you have to look
that,
a few times?
I just love saying it.
I think it's interesting that we've got a trail bike in the lead, in the downhill, on the downhill. So, yeah, hopefully someone can change that.
Good point. I mean, it would be quite interesting, but I guess that's what we've learned about the CLIF Crankworx Summer Series is crazy stuff happens when you create something like this. And having an enduro bike win a downhill would be the kind of thing you would expect to see to happen at a crazy event like the CLIF Crankworx Summer Series, but I know for sure a lot of these guys still left to go are going to be riding downhill bikes. Mark Wallace will be the last to drop. Bas van Steenbergen, and I'm sure he'll be on his downhill bike. Finn Isles, of course, we just heard from him. But you never know. Let's see, who's going to be next here, you guys? Reese Werner, next rider to drop. What do you know about Reese?
So Reese, Reese was a member of the Canadian World Enduro team that placed 3rd at the Trophy of Nations. Looks like he's starting on his downhill bike, but he's a pretty accomplished enduro racer and a very accomplished bike rider.
How do you decide whether you're going to ride a trail bike or downhill bike for a course?
Well, I think it's kind of etiquette that if it's a downhill race, you should race on the downhill bike.
I like that.
Yeah, it's kind of a gentleman's agreement.
Hey, Benny, think back to like so many years at Sea Otter Slalom, like ages ago, when it was that kind of thing. Like, when somebody won on a downhill bike, even though that course was never a downhill bike course, everybody would be like, all right, yeah, downhill.
Yeah.
All right, Reese Werner on the downhill bike, but not knocking out the top time held by the rider on the enduro bike, Casper Woolley. So, Casper Woolley stoic in that hot seat still. But a little bit of a shake-up for our podium here, but Brett Reeder's still in 2nd.
That's it.
Yeah, shout out to Brett.
Of course, shout out to Brett. I think it's something to say, like, you know, Casper rides for Yeti and they don't have a production downhill bike, so I've seen Richie put like a 40, maybe a lower 40 on one of their bikes, but Casper might be stuck on a trail bike for this one, so can't give him too much flack.
Might be out of necessity, huh?
Yeah.
Etiquette and necessity, two completely different things, Eddie. Come on.
He should still be on a downhill bike.
Just,
He needs
throw
to
40
bring
on
back
that
the
thing.
303.
Yeah,
Oh
totally.
yeah, with like the sliding link and stuff. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You get
I
cell
know, man.
reception with that thing.
I think this event is really cool in the fact that like you've got riders like Casper who might be kind of unknown to the world of mountain biking, but they're kind of being pushed to the forefront of the sport, especially with a run like this.
Yeah, this could be a catapult for some of these young BC riders as well. You know, it'd be great to see some riders use this to kind of springboard themselves onto the Crankworx World Tour. It is green there. Why is it so green there? It's the end of July. All right, Lucas Cruz, another rider from the Sea to Sky area. hailing from Pemberton, a youngster on course. Does he have what it takes to knock out Casper Woolley?
That was really good at the start there. Lucas was crushing it in the World Cup last year at a couple podiums, so I'm sure he's going to get that one
Yeah, he's another part of the Steve generation that, yeah, obviously Steve inspired loads of these young grovs, and they are really, it's all starting to pay off now.
That's the thing, isn't it, Eddie? It's like Stevie Smith's legacy lives on every time you see one of these young BC riders just absolutely demolish a downhill course. So Lucas Drew is still good, but it's not going to be enough to take that top time. He's into 6th place with a time of 2:18.
Brett Reeder, 2nd place.
All right, so you see right now, Tara in that bright purple shirt is going to apply that trusty headset to Casper Woolley. So Casper, a lot of riders out here in this downhill race choosing a downhill bike. You're at the top of the field right now on an enduro bike. Is that necessity or is that a choice?
That's the only bike I have, so yeah.
AKA necessity. Right on. Did you have any mistakes out there, or was that the run that dreams are made of?
Oh, it cut out.
Was that a perfect run, or did you leave anything out there on the course? Any mistakes to speak of, Casper? Casper, you have great hair.
Sorry, it cut out.
You have great hair.
Thank you.
If I'm not going to get the answer to a question, I feel like I should just compliment the guy. He has great hair.
I'm very jealous of the hair.
Yeah, I'm in Oregon. What do I know? The World Wide Web failed us. At least that's just the first time in this broadcast. Hopefully it's the last. Let's get back to racing. Who do we got in the start gate right now? Ooh, Elliot McKay Vesna.
Yeah, this is so last minute. I sent him up my suspension, so he's riding my suspension from my downhill bike. You know, I got him on some good settings. We did a couple of clicks, 2 clicks left.
I'm gonna say, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah, that's a great thing. That's we've got him. You know, the Fox suspension's working good out there. We've done a lot of testing on the Giant, and he better win or else.
So I'm gonna blame you if he goes outside the top spot. Are you okay with that?
No. That's his fault.
We're not gonna blame that foot down. We're gonna blame you for messing up the suspension setting.
If he does good, it's my fault. If he does bad, it's his fault.
Well, great run, just not enough to take the lead. McKay Vesna into 6th place with a 2:17. Cool. That kid is cool.
He's got swag.
He even drinks his water in a cool way. And let's talk about that hair. We talked about that hair yet?
I'm waiting for a bottle flip.
Oh, like a Bieber thing? Oh, a bottle flip, yeah.
A Bieber flip?
Nobody remembers that?
No.
All right, whatever. Let's get back to racing. Casper Woolley in the lead with a 2:13. Brett Reeder. Oh yeah, we haven't talked about that for like 4 minutes. Still hanging out in 2nd place, only 1.5 behind a kid who races full time. He's got 61 KOMs, and that's before he started just racing and pillaging at SilverStar Resort. And Brett Reeder's just been dodging. The only person he hasn't been able to dodge is Casper Woolley. But my gosh, we got a lot of racers to go, guys. Who are you looking forward to the most?
I'm interested to see if Brett Reeder has any KOMs to his name.
I was about to say, I bet like Brett is that dude on Strava, like Strava guy 125 or something like that. That you just don't know it's him.
He would have like Martin Soderstrom or something.
No.
As his name.
Right.
Oh, bad joke. I'm gonna just hold on to that one. I like it. I feel like his Strava name is Brandon Semenuk. Why do I feel like that?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Okay,
my
we got a race run. What is it? Tell us.
It's Arm Lance Strong.
Hey, there's a couple of good ones. I think there's a Guy Cooper out there. There's a Clifford Adaptante out there. I'm not going to divulge who these are, but oh, what about this guy? I'll bet he plays Strava under his own name.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like as an enduro guy, you have to have your own name on Strava. It's a rite of passage.
Okay, this is crazy. We're catching up with Jesse Melamed mid-run here.
Oh,
he's of course the enduro specialist on the enduro bike. Does he have what it takes to knock out the top spot? Casparoli, who was also riding an enduro bike. Oh, I don't think so. Oh, pre-hop.
Dang. Golly, it's
see
so
him pre-hop
tight right
that
around there.
Everybody seems to go into 6th place when they cross the line right now. That's so in.
Well,
Casper is humbling some top guys.
I know. What do you guys think he stands up for? Like, is he actually high, but inside he's super insecure? He thinks he just lost it?
I wonder what that is. Like, just seeing what's going on. Like, all right, they just left the finish corral.
I know what it is. It's like how you're supposed to stand up when you shake somebody's hands. He's being polite. He's cool and polite.
Right. If he had a hat on, he would take it off.
Yeah, bow. All right. Let's take a look at the leaderboard right now. Of course, we know that Casparoli's in first and Brett Reeder's in second because we've just been talking about it to nauseum. But what else do we have on this, Elliot?
Well, I think the interesting thing here, and it's always frustrating as a racer, is you see 5th, 6th, and 7th are separated by less than 0.3 of a second, or about 0.3 of a second, and it's like, how does that happen? How do we all tie in this little area? So you get those little groups, and it's sad.
I always wish that they had the ghost function off like PlayStation, and you could like track the people and just see where you lost that tiny little bit of time.
Oh, I bet this next racer would love to have that ghost function because he knows it's going to take a top run to take the lead here. This is Kirk McDowell, a guy who's been the Canadian National Downhill Champion 2 times in his career from Port Moody. Let's see what he's got.
I am going to put myself in harm's way and say that he's going to go into the lead.
Ooh, I like it. Hot take.
I'm calling slotting between Brett and Casper.
Oh, wow. He's so good at like carrying speed. We were talking about that earlier. I don't know how he does it, but he is just so good at finding those smooth lines and not messing up.
Full disclosure here, I'm rooting for Brett to hold on to 2nd place. I'm just gonna let that be out there, okay?
Oh, I was.
Team pre-ride.
I'm off.
Yes! Yes! I mean, I hate to root against anybody. It's so messed up for a host to do, but 2 seconds back, Kirk McDowell.
And Casper's up again.
He did it again. Hey, what's a drinking game now?
Too good.
Every time he stands up, take a sip of your water bottle. It can be filled with whatever you want it to be filled with. Oh my gosh! Check out who we have up next. Vas van Steenbergen. The guy who's hanging out in 2nd place in the overall right now. He won the slalom just yesterday. And of course, he was down at the first stop of the Crankworx World Tour, which ended up being the last stop of the Crankworx World Tour for the 2020 season. He was on fire as usual. Let's take a look back at some highlights from dual slalom. He was going up against Kyle Straight.
Man, this slalom course was the best thing of all time. I was watching that and I was so jealous.
Look at the scrub spine. So crazy stuff happened in this race between Vas van Steenbergen and Kyle Straight. It was in the first run, Kyle blew a chain. But Vas put it to him. No, he didn't. He got 2nd. That was what it was. Kyle blew the chain and then came back and still did it. But it's all about, it's similar to the CLIF Crankworx series. It's all about competing in a ton of different disciplines and trying to gather up the points. So that was then, this is now. Those points don't really matter because that tour was canceled. It's all about CLIF Crankworx Summer Series right now, and it's all about Bas van Steenbergen, who's 25 points behind Finn Isles in the overall. He won the slalom last night. Can he get some more points here in the downhill?
Yeah, talk about another guy who's good at carrying speed. Saw that in the slalom yesterday. And this is one of his home tracks, home mountains. Rides here a ton. So these are definitely trails that he knows. Let's see what he can do.
Oh my. Yeah, that really plays into
that was
it.
quick.
Took the straight line and basically
know.
gapped the whole thing.
I haven't been like, you know, when you're racing and you watch the clock, you usually have points on the track where you know if you're going to beat someone or not, and I haven't been doing that. And it's...
Oh, man.
Oh.
Oh, what is it going to be between him and Reader?
Bro. I wish I could see his face.
Is Casper not going to get up for this one?
Oh, man.
Uh-oh, guys.
Oh,
I think he's getting
some,
way too comfortable there.
Yeah, I wonder if there's like, what if he stands up for everyone but Bass? Like some.
Oh, it might have been a lactic acid thing, Elliot.
Too much.
He's shaking it out.
He's pumped up.
He's
Or
looking
maybe we
very
could just-
comfortable now.
Yeah. We could pretend there's some kind of beef between Casper and Bass, though. Why not? He seriously just
there will be-
reclined.
There will be bragging rights from Reader and Bass, though.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
for sure.
I was trying to change the subject and not talk about that too much because that's a little bit serious.
Well, I think Brett has beat Bass in every race they've done, but it's good to see the.
That's messed up, Elliot. That's messed up. You had to go there.
Yeah. Brett has to be letting Bass know these stats as well. If we know that Bass is going to know all about
For more on that, we have a headset on Bass.
Oh my god! Oh, I
Bring it
wish.
up.
Okay, right now, this is kind of cool. We've got some overall standings running along the bottom here. This is with points considered from all the different events, but ooh, next in the gate, the Enduro specialist, Remy Gauvin.
Yeah, yesterday he was pushing it in the slalom, on the downhill bike as well. He really did well. He went to Leger last year, did a World Cup, and I think he finished in the 40s, which is amazing. Just to not race a World Cup forever, come in and do that is insane.
Especially on that course. That's an impressive result because Leger, you are seriously moving.
Yeah, that is one of the hardest races in the world to do well at.
You can hear him breathing the whole way down. Oh, he's looking pretty good here.
Yeah.
Ooh, 5 seconds? I don't know, guys. No.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to fit him.
No, he's not. He's not even going to beat Brett. All right, Remy Gauvin, 4.5 back from the lead into 10th place. And I think Casper's looking for that little arm alongside the chair to just kick back. Can somebody get him a remote control, please? Maybe a beer.
We need
how
to
old
get
is he?
him a
We
little
can't do
fan
that.
to blow the dust away as well.
No, he's of age, isn't he? Somebody get this man a beer. Or maybe like feed him some olives. Oh,
Maybe
guess
some
what, guys?
cider. They were at the cidery before.
Yeah, all this talk about the cidery. Where's the cider? Oh my.
I had
Okay,
some
okay,
serious
guys.
FOMO.
Listen. We got 2 more racers to go. So, Casper Woolley's guaranteed himself a podium. But look, these guys go back so far. Finn Isles and Casper Woolley. This is something that not a lot of people know. They used to race skiing together. And now Finn Isles is all about downhill. Casper Woolley all about enduro. But right now, it's going to be really interesting to see who takes the bragging rights and the points. Let's go to another soundbite from Finn, who's always got something to say.
I'd say I've had my fair share of disappointments over the last couple of years, so it's a little bit, I've like sort of learned how to deal with that. And I think that if you have a bad week, you get 2 days off and then you're back into it, and you just got to focus on the positives. It's like maybe you had 3 bad results, but you had 1 good result. It's just like keep your mind sort of in a good place instead of focusing on what brings you down.
when you're 20 years old, you're still figuring that stuff out. You know, if you could take like his, you know, capabilities and give him the brain that he'll have in another 10 years, he would be unstoppable. He always leaves it all out on the course, and he's on track right now. Finn Isles.
Yeah, man, I think what he said there can't be understated. And him getting that experience from the very beginning is so important, because in downhill it's just so important to have that sort of mindset, whether you're on the track or going into another race or another week.
Yeah, I think that applies to even the run that he's doing now. If he's made one mistake, you don't want to dwell on a mistake. You just want to keep pushing and sticking to the game plan.
Oh man, okay, he's got a little bit of time to work with here. He's in the open. He's got 2 seconds to play with. Finn Isles in the lead by just under a second. Wow, Finn Isles is going to take home at minimum 85 points from this. And maybe the win if he's able to dodge Mark Wallace, who will be the final racer to take to the course here in the SilverStar Downhill.
I think it's interesting too, like
guaranteed a podium.
Yeah, and he didn't. I think everyone would be like, oh, Finn's gonna blow everyone out of the water. But each race is its own thing, you know, like this isn't a World Cup. Everyone kind of has their own style on these tracks.
So this is definitely an interesting situation here. Mark Wallace, the last rider who will be able to take this course right now. Of course, a World Cup racer. We caught up with him earlier to speak about pressure in this crazy 3-week format.
I don't know, I think no matter what position you're in coming into the Summer Series, I think there's pressure maybe from different places, but everyone's probably feeling equally nervous about racing for the first time in a long time and equally excited to be here and being able to race. So I think everyone, no matter where they're kind of coming from, is feeling like we're all in this together, I guess.
Thinking you're losing. That was a great quote we had earlier on in the season from Mitch Ropalato, or I guess it was late last season. So what is the mindset of Mark Wallace going to be when he takes to the course right now and tries to beat this 2:12? Currently the top time by Finn Isles. A blistering time. I mean, Casper Woolley was hanging out in that hot seat for so long, and Finn almost put a second on him, but it's all about the last rider to take the course right now. Can he take the win? Mark Wallace.
Yeah.
I think it's worth.
Go, Eddie. Go.
I think it's worth mentioning that Mark is one of the gnarliest riders on the World Cup, and you can just count on him to do.
Yes, I was going to say the exact same thing.
Yeah, he's a silent assassin. He'll always do the gnarliest gaps, and yeah, he's one of my favorite riders.
When I was racing, you would go through the gnarliest section on the trail and just wait for Mark to come down to show you how to do it.
He's such an unassuming bad dude on a bike. But whoa, look at this, he's already outside the time. Mark Wallace is not going to sweep that win out from under Finn Isles. Finn Isles will take the lead. Brett Reeder is going to get a podium here in 3rd place. Wow, Casper Woolley in 2nd.
Holy.
I wonder if Mark had a mistake there. He was a little
Brett
bit
tried
further
one of
back.
those crazy gaps you're talking about.
I think Brett Reeder's result is going to blow up on the Pink Bike comments. I can't wait to read some of them.
I'm eating a clip bar right now to cheers to Brett Reeder getting that podium. That's insane. Yeah. Oh my gosh, props. A whole lot to digest here. Crazy. Yeah. Cheers. Look at what I got. What do I got right here? Which one is this? Crunchy peanut butter? Yeah, Brett, 3rd place. Don't talk with your mouth full. Didn't you listen to your mouth?
I want to see the. I want to see the Brett. What was it? World Cup Brett #.com.
Yeah,
we're gonna have so many hashtags at the end of this.
Yeah, Brett for World Cup.
Brett for Enduro. Brett for Dual Slalom. Come on, we want to see more of you, Brett. Let's do this. Expect the unexpected at the CLIF Crankworx Summer Series, a crazy SilverStar Downhill race. We're gonna let you hang out, have a little break right now, and digest these results. We're gonna come back with final thoughts here in a minute, and of course, as per tradition, we're gonna throw a headset on our winner, Finn Isles, and see how that run went for him. Great race out there. Don't go away. Plenty more exciting talking, I guess, for you when we come back. Goodbye.
Discover the best trails in the world. Trailforx. Download the app today. Crankworx Summer Series. Of course, we'd like to thank our sponsors. It is the CLIF Crankworx Summer Series after all, so we got to thank CLIF. Send it, whip it, and keep on with CLIF Bar. Of course, Max is keeping the riders connected to the dirt out there. Maxxis tread victoriously. And rolling with this BC theme, we'd like to thank Norco, designed and tested in British Columbia. All right, Finn Isles took the win here in the SilverStar Downhill. He is now wearing our hat that has headphones and a microphone on it. Finn, kind of the craziest downhill podium I've ever seen. You got a free rider, you got a guy who's racing an enduro bike, and then at the top, right where you want to be, is Finn Isles. You've had a second and 2 firsts. Is there any energy left for Air Downhill tomorrow?
Yeah, it's definitely been an interesting race having those guys on the podium. Brett Reeder, I was riding with him this morning, and I don't know, he was looking really good. I'm so stoked for him. But yeah, I actually feel like I have a lot of energy left for tomorrow. I think the heat's been beating us a lot of us down, but I've been drinking a lot of water, and I'm feeling good.
Great. Are you going to be racing your downhill bike in the Air Downhill tomorrow, or are you going to go back to that Stumpy?
I'm going to go back to the Stumpy for tomorrow. The track's pretty flat, a lot of pedaling, and I think the Stump Jumper handles those jumps a little bit better than my my downhill bike.
Well, cool, Finn. Congratulations. It's been an insane run for you right now. 285 points to your tally. You make the math so easy when you win. It's just add 100 to whatever you had before. So go chill out, hop in the lake, get cool. We'll see you tomorrow in Air Downhill.
Yeah, thanks, Cam. I couldn't really hear you there, but...
You have great hair. All right, so we're taking a look back right now, a replay, the winning run from Finn Isles. Of course, we don't get to see the entire track here, but from everything we saw, there's no mistakes. What do you guys make of this run?
Yeah, I think I was just looking at how he comes out of the turns. really gets on the pedals super quick, there is something to be said about that World Cup downhill experience. Coming in slow, coming out fast, getting on the pedals really quick. That was pretty world-class run there.
Now, Eddie, interesting to hear he's going to go for the Stumpy tomorrow as well.
Well, you kind of have to on ADH because it's all about staying low, carrying speed. Even though it might feel like the feedback that you get from the bike might be rougher, I think you're kind of guaranteed to be a little bit quicker when it comes to jumping and scrubbing. And he won the ADH in Whistler last year. He knows how to deliver on an ADH course.
Seriously, in AirDH, it's all about scrubbing. And I mean, we're talking about the kid who won the whip off at 14 years old in Whistler. Whipping, scrubbing goes hand in hand. So, of course, keep your eye on pinkbike.com for the results tomorrow from the AirDH. But right now, I just want to take the opportunity to thank you guys, Eddie Masters and Elliot Jackson, for joining us here in the SilverStar Downhill. It was a doozy, and this whole thing is far from over. One more event at SilverStar, and the next week we'll move it along to Kicking Horse and keep on awarding these points. And the story continues. So also, I'd like to thank those of you out there tuning in on pinkbike.com to the CLIF Crankworx Summer Series. We'll see you in a few days at Kicking Horse, BC. Later.